Greetings and salutations to all you folks out there. We're going to be looking at a game on Theta Passage today. This is the 2 versus 2 version of the map, and yes, I know this is a very popular and highly specific build order oriented map in the ladder, but there is a 2 versus 2 version of it, and it is a pretty interesting game that's going on here. So let's introduce the teams and get started. So on the south side, or left side, depending on who you ask, we've got Hawkeye. I should probably bump up the speed here. Hawkeye is going UEF, and he is edge building a factory out here, which is kind of unique. I've not seen anyone do that before. Looks like he's integrating his power build queue up here. He's got all of these mass extractors building, and then he's walking his ACU out, and come to think of it, that is an incredibly efficient way to do it. His opponent on the other side is doing that as well. I'm going to have to remember that if I ever do this map on a 2v2. Blitzshuda is his teammate, and he is going Cybran, doing a pretty standard build order right here. Obviously, you have a lot of mass extractors in your home base, so you're going to want a TMD out there at some point, and that lets you build up very quickly. But there are a bunch of mass extractors outside your base as well that you are definitely going to need to exploit in order to win, because there's a ton of economy up in the air there. We've got Malicious going down with some mass extractors and P-gens, but this is an adjacency build. Let me get my tongue untied here and figure out what exactly I am saying. This is going to let him go for an early T2 mass extractor at a discounted energy cost, and that is going to greatly help his build because he's also trying to wedge an air factory in there as well. There is some reclaim out on the map. We'll look at that in just a second. Ander is going Seraphim. So that is Seraphim and Aeon on one team and UEF and Cybran on the other team. I know which team I'm rooting for. Who likes the space hippies and the slimy aliens, right? Okay, so Control Shift, there is one thing, 150 mass right there in the middle on this bridge of stone here. Other than that, it's 5 and 10 mass reclaim in these patches. The buildings are not in the 2v2 version of the map, and then your only closed off expansion is going to be up here, these 3 mass extractors on the plateau. So, what are we doing early game? We've got an expansion here headed out for Malicious. We've got a little bit of early aggression. 2 Mech Marines for Hawkeye, who has gone up here maybe to try to stave off an engineer coming in this direction, but he is going to come this way and snag that Hydro Builder. On the south side, it looks like there was an attempt over here. That is probably a scout, maybe? I'm not sure. It is very, very crumpled, whatever it is. And it was intercepted by the tanks over there, so kudos to him for fending that off. Mech Marines did score an engineer kill, and they are going to whisk away to lurk in the darkness right around the corner, waiting for something else to wander too close and die at their hands. 2 more Mech Marines headed up. That's just going to kind of camp out on these couple of mass extractors and prevent Ander from expanding. On the south side, it looks like Blitzshuda is going for 3 more land factories and an air factory, second land, third air. And on the north side, we have exclusively land factories going down for Hawkeye. He is planning on 7 land factories as his build, and that is a whole lot of mass that is going to be going out in those factories. Hopefully he can get some things online to feed that vast complex. T1 bomber coming out. It's going to miss the Mech Marines, which were microed around that little shot. It's going to head towards the south, maybe pick up an engineer, who really knows. There is an interceptor on the way from this air factory, but it is going to take a few minutes to get built. In the meantime, it might be able to snag a couple of kills, but it's looking less and less likely as time goes on, since it is kind of meandering around on the edge of the map, not hitting anything in particular. Come back, and there's not an engie kill because the engineer stopped short, but he was able to pick up a couple of units there. So, not all is lost. We've got a bomb hitting the T1 tanks over here, and an interceptor is finally out to potentially knock those 4 bombers out of the air. Malicious just streaming those bombers out of the factory, hoping to overwhelm the limited interceptor count. Hawkeye is also getting some T1 mobile anti-air out, and I am very, very surprised that that Mantis actually survived versus that tank and a couple of other units, but hip hip hooray for it. It's probably previously damaged. Gonna finish off that mass extractor, and here come the tanks to deal with it. It was probably not going to survive very long. These bombers leaving a few husks here and there, but overall not too terribly much damage happening. The anti-air being built by Hawkeye and the interceptors from Blitzschutter are going to take care of the problem. So that is going to let things rest just a little bit. Obviously, being able to soften up these targets is a good thing, because even if you don't outright kill all of the tanks, they're not going to perform well once they go into combat, and that is not a good position to be in. On the south side, first Mantis was dealt with, but there is another Mantis coming up. We'll have to kill that off as well. Thank goodness for the long range on the Auroras. He was going to try to skirt and get up here to snag that mass extractor, but Auroras pegged him from a distance, not taking a single shot in return. Now this is, I'm actually curious for learning experience sake. We have 16 tanks versus 14 tanks and an artillery and 3 scouts, with the ACU coming up. So relatively even numbers, but remember that blue was softened up by that T1 bomber. You've got several damaged tanks in there, and most of the THAMs were at full health. That was a bad engagement at the start. This plateau looks like it's going to get knocked out. A couple of tanks being finished off up there without the assistance of their comrades, and then the T1 tanks moving up once again, not engaging in an optimal pattern, to say the least. Red staying nice and clumped up and blue scattering to the wind. That is going to mean a hard loss for blue. So between the bombers softening up those targets, a little bit of misplaced micro, that is going to work out exceptionally well for Ander. There is one lonely engineer left right up here at the top of the map, though. He is just kind of chilling out, happy to be alive, ready to lay down that expansion once again now that the tanks have retreated. You got Auroras on the south side. If you can get the Mantis in range of the Auroras, obviously they win one-on-one because of the health discrepancy, but as long as you let the Auroras kite you, you're gonna have a bad time. Militia's doing a great job of getting radar down there. That's going to give him coverage over the entirety of his side of the map. He's going to be able to see whatever is coming his way. That'll let his Auroras engage at maximum effectiveness. Blitzschutter getting ready to build with some more land factories. Decided that he does not have enough build power anymore. He does have all of his T1 mass extractors locked down, although he does not have any T2s yet, although he is 87% on one. We've got hardcore upgrades going for Hawkeye. He's already got one T2, he's got a pause queue built up there, and he's got his engineers traveling around building those up. I know that this is kind of common knowledge, but I still do get people asking me about this on occasion, so a quick explanation. You just select all of your mass extractors, press the upgrade button, and then as soon as your economy dips, pause them. Your mexes still produce mass. They function just as they normally would, but they're paused now in the middle of a T2 upgrade. You select however many engineers you want to control your expenditure, and you just assist them all with the shift button. And they travel from one to the next, upgrading them to T2, and the mechs unpauses once it is done. And that is pretty much the simplest way you can possibly upgrade a bunch of mass extractors. If you do it with 3 or 4 engineers, it's a slow drain on your economy, and you don't have to worry about forgetting to upgrade your mass extractors. We do have T2 land online for Hawkeye, who has got an unupgraded ACU on the front line, paired with a gun comm from Blitzschutter, and a few units trickling in from him as well. So it looks like we're going to concentrate all of the action on the north side with these two commanders clumped up together. That's going to be very hard to stop for the other team, but Ander does have the gun upgrade on his ACU, and we actually have T2 on malicious comm. So technically this is a stronger matchup, but there is a unit and a tech advantage on this side with the T2 tanks moving up from the back if they ever do decide to move up. So Blitzschutter engaging Ander's forces, landing some good shots on those tanks. You never want to go after the ACU if there's a bunch of tanks available to shoot, because if you just trade blows with the tank or with the ACU, it's just going to tank your damage and you're not decreasing the damage potential. But if you're shooting the tanks instead, you're slowly decreasing the amount of damage that the other player can do, and it works out much better for your health. Looks like Hawkeye is backing up his teammate forcing Ander back just a little bit. Malicious coming out. This is important as well. Build your point defense behind your ACU so that you're kind of a front guard. You can meet shield for your PD if you need to, and targets are less likely to try to run past you and get that point defense. Blitzshooter needs to get the hell out. 3,000 health and rapidly dropping thanks to that gun commander. Hawkeye getting between Ander and his teammates, soaking up damage with that superior amount of health. And look at that, he is trying to walk in line with Blitzshooter to shield him with his own commander. This is the lengths you have to go to win a 2v2, folks. You've got to keep your teammate alive at all costs. That's going to drop Hawkeye down to about half health, but we now have this swarm of units moving up, combination of T2 and T1 from both players. T2 Engineer bringing triads up from the back for some cover fire in the rear. Those ACUs are going to escape, and now we have a good bit of map control on the left side team's favor. Now, the disadvantage here is that they don't get some kind of kill. Ander is low. 1,900 health remaining. They're going to leave a lot of reclaim on this side of the map, but there's a veterancy. 1,800 health, and he is going to be fine. That was very, very close. Just a few blows from that gun comm would have decided it in the other direction. Malicious throwing down T1 point defense templates in front of his teammate. He's got the T2 in the back. He's building mobile shields to bring out for protection. They've just got to lock down this area. If those Oblivion turrets come online and they can secure this, they're going to have the mother of all reclaim fields to upgrade with. They're going to be able to drop 2 or 3 T2 mexes apiece on that reclaim, and that will feed their unit needs for a long time to come. We do have another support factory going down for Hawkeye. He's upgrading his production there, and he's also finished off his 5th T2 mass extractor. I would definitely be getting some TMD down there very, very quickly, considering the fact that there is an obvious T2 ACU on the field. That means that any minute now we could be seeing a TAC launcher. That is the worst thing that can happen to your economy. Alright, point defense is lined up. It's just a little bit of a deterrent. You don't want those units pushing you too hard. You want to keep them in arm's length. That's exactly what that's good at. Hawkeye dropping a T2 upgrade in a very exposed position. Not entirely sure I'm a huge fan of that. One TAC missile and a couple of units would be enough to finish off that ACU. I like the power builds that you see in the on this map, Theta Passage. People kind of stretch out the T1 power as long as they possibly can. There is a T2 PGen for Malicious, which is probably overflowing to his teammate. Ander only pulling in 240 power, but he is fine because of his mass stall. So that is working out rather well for him. You don't want to overbuild power in a 2v2. In a team game, you can kind of absorb overbuilt power because everybody benefits from it. That Oblivion turret is kind of worrying. Hawkeye needs to get back. He is down to 2,900 health and still taking shots. Got to finish that upgrade. Assist. There it is. 4,300 health. As long as he gets that health boost from the T2 upgrade, everything works out fine. Alrighty then. What else is going on around this map here? Ander dropping an upgrade. That is probably T2 as well, if I had to guess. Malicious still sitting on T2 ACU. Looks like as far as economy goes, Malicious is in the lead. He's got all T2 mechs in the back. We're missing one for Hawkeye over here. That's actually quite impressive considering the fact that map control does not favor the North team at this particular point in time. But let's check on the reclaim numbers. We've got 5,000 reclaim for Malicious. Hawkeye only on 3,500. Blitzshooter on 14, and Hawkeye is hardcore power stalling. What are you getting for an upgrade, buddy? You're not getting an upgrade. You're building triads, and you've simply forgotten about your power situation. T2 PGen going down in the south. That is the power draw down there, trying to speed build that with multiple engineers. And Anders, last but certainly not least, sitting on about 4,000 reclaim. So Malicious, a little over 1,000 reclaim ahead of most of these other people. We've got most of the wrecks reclaimed, quite a few of them anyway. This is where you would want to, and he does have an engineer on attack move out near the wrecks. They can reclaim on a pretty freaking large area from this circle, something like around in that range. So you would want to move that attack move order up to scoot those engineers just a little closer. Try not to get in reach of the triad, but definitely want to snag up as many of these wrecks as you possibly can. Alright, as this game moves forward, Hawkeye is dropping a couple of TMD to protect those ACUs. I don't see any tac launchers. There's one, right as I open my mouth to say it. There's one right there under the shield assisting towards its 4th tac missile. Doesn't look like anything has been tacked as of yet. And what is this? Jesters and Corsairs. Blitz Shuda making an air assault on the other side. You know what? They may not have tac launchers. There may be a bunch of TMD up, but they're definitely going to knock out some of these T2 Mexes. Interceptors providing cover. There's a bunch of flak on the south side, but it's just going to take time to get up in reach of all of these air units. Jesters knocking out 4 T2 Mexes, count them, 4, and moving up to greener pastures over here. Corsairs getting knocked out of the sky. Jester's going to finish off yet another mass extractor. It looks like that flak is going to make its difference. Finally, there were T1 anti-air building along here as well. Hopefully he can pull those off and not finish those, because I don't think there is any need for that many T1 anti-air at this point. That's just kind of overkill. A couple more heavily damaged T2 Mexes, but that's not the end of the world. They're still making mass. Just going to have to spend a little bit to repair them whenever you get a free moment. Obsidians moving up. These are some overpowered T2 main battle tanks. Remember that they cost far more than a pillar does, though you cannot compare them on a 1-to-1 ratio. Those two battle groupings look to be about the same size, but Obsidians go, I think, 1.5 to 1 or something like that, maybe even 2 to 1 versus the pillars. It's basically like a T2 Percival with slightly shorter range. You got that 4-second reload with an incredible alpha shot, high damage unit, and the recharging shield is basically like starting with a veterancy. Does fantastically well for multiple engagements. Alright, Ander getting yet another upgrade. Maybe it's nano regen. Maybe he's trying to get his commander up to battle readiness. Who really knows? We do have a Renegade out as well, the T2 gunship for Cybern. I do prefer Renegades to Jesters. I know Jesters are a whole lot of fun and you can be super duper cheesy with a Jester, but the Renegade has more health per mass, longer flight time, and that area of effect, which just does such devastating things versus groups of NGs and T1 units. Looks like we've got some bombardment coming in from the Even Songs. The bad thing about Even Songs is that they do have the slowest firing rate of any of the mobile missile launchers, but they do the most damage. So that is a plus. You just have to get them all in a synchronized firing pattern, target them, stop them, or take them, put them on hold fire so that they all reload, and then release the hold fire command so they all fire at exactly the same time, and they can do a pretty decent job of overwhelming the TAC defense. Now, this is a TAC launcher for the south side. Let me state the obvious. We had 3 Sparkies head over to the side, build up that TAC launcher, and it is now firing against the rear, against the front portions, pardon me, of Malicious's base. There's not TMD on everything, but there are TMD on a lot of things. Renegades killing 2 Obsidians at once. They are going to get into this flak, though. TMD going down. I know what's coming now. We've got a missile that's going to knock out that T2P gen. There is no other reason for sacrificing all those Renegades in order to kill that TMD. Although I suppose that is a prime target because there's not a whole lot of power for Malicious. He only has that 1 T2P gen. All the rest of these T2P gens belong to Ander. He does have 3 of them, so he is going to overflow quite a bit, but that is still a blow to the team. TAC missile on a T1 mass extractor, honestly kind of a waste, but you know what, if all you want to do is stick it to the other team and be a royal pain in the butt, you can do that. It'll work out just fine. Pardon me, folks. Allergies are killing me still. I can tell you the area that I'm in has some of the worst pollen of all times. Anywho, we do have a T3 land factory online. We've already got 2 Percivals out, Hawkeye adding a 3rd to his roster. That means the king of the direct fire land game has hit the field, and the northern team is going to have to do something creative to overcome that. Creative looks to be taking the form of sniper bots currently. We do have 3 snipers out for malicious. Those are the Sprite Strikers. Always interested in some of the unit names here. They do have some interesting ones between the factions. Ander, it looks like he's going for a T3 upgrade as well. What are you going to start building out of it? You do not have anything queued quite yet, so we're just going to have to wait. There is a strap bomber hitting the T2 mechs there, leaving it with a paltry 250 health. That is the bad thing about the Cybern strap bomber. It cannot one-shot KO any T2 mass extractors. And you know what? Those T1 anti-air actually did a fantastic job versus that strap bomber. It's a good thing that they were there. T1 anti-air does hit strap bombers fairly reliably, more reliably than stationary flak does. Mobile flak does a pretty good job. The interceptors are a good watch as well. On the south side, we do have some T3 point defense going down for Hawkeye. He is trying to get a base breaker together, but this is the disadvantage to building stationary defenses. You do not have as much mass in mobile, and we have a run by. The south side has been largely ignored as far as that goes, but now we have a Harbinger and a pack of wild, ravenous obsidians that are going to move in on the back. Honestly, we could see a T3 HQ kill here, which would not be a bad idea at all. The Percival's mobile shields and everything else is moving down, trying to save the day. Either kill that factory or kill some P-Gens, one or the other. You need to focus fire now because you have a limited lifespan to take advantage of all of these units. Don't leave the factory on 4,000 health. No! That is so close. One volley from your obsidians. Come on, get in there and get it. No, the P-Gen died, but it took most of those units with it. 3,040 health remaining. Now we have a strap bomber that's going to tear up the rest of the units moving in. That could have been much, much more devastating. I don't understand why the target did not come in sooner, or the specific targeting didn't happen sooner, because that could have been far, far worse for the South team. But as it is, still lost a P-Gen, still got a heavily damaged factory they're going to have to heal up, but there is a nice little chunk of mass in the back. We do have more sniper bots being built, but the T3 point defense is pretty dang good at breaking that kind of thing up. You have to very carefully micro your snipers. You have to have them on the proper firing mode with the Seraphim snipers to outrange those T3 point defense, and you can't really... They're not super great shield breakers. If I was in this situation, I would have one player building absolvers in order to get this shielding down. The UEF shielding is fairly strong, and I would have the other person spamming T3 mobile artillery, which it does look like Ander has shifted to T3 Arty rather than the sniper bots, but he has kind of a traffic jam happening with these T1 engineers around his factory. It's unfortunate to see when stuff like that happens if you can't make good, effective use of your units as soon as they pop out. Malicious has a little bit of a traffic jam as well, but his factory is on the very doorstep of the firebase. So we've got now 4 plus 3, 4, so around 9 T3 mobile artillery raining fire on that base. That is a lot of damage eating through those shields. You can see even with the T3 shield upgrade, they drop that son of a gun pretty quickly. We've got sniper bots hitting as well. This is just not a good situation for the South team because we're seeing a steamroll mechanism. Once you hit critical mass with the T3 mobile artillery, you simply cannot defend yourself with a firebase anymore. And this is where you need to start shifting to some kind of master solution. Whether that is mass T1 or T2 bombers, Corsairs would be a pretty good option. They're very good at killing groups of T3 mobile artillery. Something needs to be done because T3 mobile Arty is only outranged by either a Fat Boy or the T2 stationary artillery as far as this is concerned. Otherwise, you got to deal with them with something like a spearhead if you're really lucky and they leave their unit still, or bombers. Bombers are a good solution to pretty much everything. T1 bombers especially, because you can just suicide them in and they will kill many times their mass in T3 mobile artillery. We do have some more T1 anti-air going down on the south side. Not sure why he is still building that. If I were him, I would get a single T3 engineer out and start throwing down SAMs. Maybe only one or two. You don't need a whole lot because this is a very small map. And if you have, let's say, 3 SAMs, they should be able to drop a strat bomber in 2 firing cycles. The strat bomber will not get a second pass. So much fire coming down. That is the end of that base. Look at these projectiles being lobbed. One volley nearly taking down the shield. The second volley is going to take it down and wipe out the base underneath. Look at that. That is why you build T3 mobile artillery, folks. Even if you're going versus units, Seraphim and Cybern mobile Arty have huge area of effects that can damage many units at the same time. It's a fantastic thing to have on your side. Aeon artillery is more of a pinpoint mechanism, but it still does a pretty dang good job of breaking up those fire bases. We do have a Monkey Lord happening. That is for Blitzschutter, assisted by his teammate. Looks like we've got 115 income for him and 107 for Ander as the economy leaders, 72 for Hawkeye and 78 for Malicious. Looking at the reclaim, we've got 13k. We've got 9k for Blitzschutter. Hawkeye sitting on 9,000 and Ander on 6,000. And they're all very close in score, constantly swapping places with each other on the board. This is a neck and neck game as far as the economy slash units built are concerned. As far as map control and unit composition goes, I have to hand it to the North team at this particular moment, because the amount of T3 mobile artillery they have up here is just terrifying. They're starting to build T3 main battle tanks. We've got Harveys coming out. They're getting some frontline units on to defend these support units. You've got to have something ahead of them. And here's some T1 bombers doing a little bit of damage there and getting shot down by some interceptors. The T3 air factory is not being put to particularly hard use at the moment. There is a strat bomber over there, but it's not being used. And now the T3 mobile artillery is moving to the south side to take out that dang TML that is still hitting a couple of things. Just lost a mass extractor right there. So much just chaos happening. Some of the stuff you really don't expect to see that often, but I love the response to the UEF T3 point defense. That should inspire anyone who hates point defense creeps. If you think, man, those Ravager creeps, that's just the most difficult thing to get around. You auto lose once 3 Ravagers get up. You just can't survive. Well, yes you can. It's called T3 mobile artillery, folks, and it absolutely demolishes the UEF fire bases. We do have Cybern. Never mind. There were Cerberus turrets up, but not anymore. Harbingers will be able to get in the back if so desired, but that Monkey Lord has been scouted. Malicious calling, group all T3 together. That is exactly what you need to do. I like the move to Titans here. Very fast raiding unit. They're able to dart in and kill a couple of T3 mobile artillery and then retreat with all 4 Titans intact, dodging sniper fire and bomber fire. Oh, nope, there, one finally died. So Titans themselves are very weak units, not super great at full front attacks, but as far as raiding and getting rid of pesky things, they do fantastically well. Monkey Lord moving up. Look at the health drop on this. Taking every time a volley of T3 mobile Arty fire comes in. Holy crap. Offense are going to get in range. This is nowhere near enough T3 to kill a Monkey Lord, but add in a couple of T2 point defense and a whole lot of artillery. There goes the Aeon Arty. That Monkey Lord did not stand a chance. Man, T3 Arty is strong. 4 tax launched. Where is that going to? ACU maybe? He was on the move, so it's not going to do anything. Alright, so Blitzschutter getting out of the way of that one. Good. You know what would be a good target? Could probably nail that P-Gen. Probably that one as well, but there are TMD going up. So he's got to launch soon. T3 artillery moving up, starting to hammer away at those shields. There are still some strat bombers saved up in the corner, so we might be able to see a snipe in just a minute. But look at that. Reclaim happening on the Monkey Lord there. We've got this pile of T3 wrecks waiting to be reclaimed. Anders going to be able to build whatever the hell he wants. I would be building a T4 if I were him. But he is getting a P-Gen. That is also good. And he's getting SACUs, which are dedicated T4 killers for the Seraphim. Get that shield nano overcharge upgrade combo going for you. You can pretty much kill any T4, with that commander. The overcharge is freaking brutal as long as you have the power to feed it. So much T1 anti-air. It's interesting because T1 anti-air is basically a direct fire. T2 anti-air is indirect-ish. It's flak. I mean, it fires directly at units, but super slow projectile speed, high AoE on explosion. It's not exactly like a pinpoint precision weapon. And then SAMs are guided projectiles, kind of a direct fire equivalent. So, Ander under fire. He's lost his P-Gen. He was in the explosion radius. He is down from 26,000 health to 6 in one pass. And those strat bombers coming back around. No! Red is down. That was a hard play by the south side. They knew they had to do something. The Monkey Lord failed. They were starting to lose their grip on this side of the map thanks to that T3 mobile artillery. Now they've eliminated half the danger. But what's going to happen here is Malicious, the 1600 player, is going to build something bad. He has got a lot of reclaim on hand. 2 T3 P-Gens. He's already getting his own T3 P-Gen online, followed by a shield and a Galactic Colossus, because he is going to have all of that lovely, tasty, beautiful mass on hand. He has still not got much anti-air, though. That is worrisome. His teammate just died to a strat bomber, and he is really not building any anti-air. I would be very concerned about air if I were you, Malicious. There's the P-Gen up. That should make him recover from his power stall. 1300 overflow, building that Galactic Colossus with a whole lot of assistance. Good luck to you, man. Oh, look, speaking of spearheads, I know it was a while since I talked about them, but here's spearheads actually being built in a game. What madness is this? Too bad they don't actually have a tracking projectile, because then they might be able to hit something. But as it is, they are going to eliminate a couple of units. That Galactic Colossus going down in a huge, huge hurry. Malicious's reclaim number is just going to skyrocket. 21k. Blitzshooter is on 11 and Hawkeye is on 12. So he's almost to the combined reclaim of the South team by himself, and that is only going to go northwards. He does have those awesome Harbingers. They're going to be able to patrol in an area, reclaim everything that they can. It's not even like he has to put out engineers to do all of this. Some engineers going down there. First Galactic Colossus almost complete. There is a Monkey Lord on the south side and a shielded commander with a couple of Ravagers. But I really doubt that Galactic Colossus is going to be able to do any severe damage, although there are some Harbingers accompanying it, which will help break up the fire from that fire base and give that GC a little bit more survivability, because he's going to have to decide, do I want to target the Harbingers or do I want to target the GC? And whichever one he doesn't target is going to do a whole lot of damage. We have a Megalith coming online for Blitzshooter. That is going to be a problem if it gets up, but I'm not sure that it will get up. GC moving in, hammering away at that Monkey Lord. Harbingers moving in as well, trying to get within reach to save the GC, layer in their damage with that monkey. Now we're in the red health, 20k. Those Ravagers eating into the GC, although it is going to start chewing up that base. I'm not sure whether it will be able to vet, though. 3k HP and an overcharge from the ACU finishes it off. Renegade and ACU trying to kill off these Harbingers. Beautiful overcharge there, killing 5 Harbies in one shot. Holy crap, that was great. That's a 4-star commander. 24k shield regenning at the moment with 25k on the commander. That is a 50,000 health ACU. But there is another GC coming and another GC building after yet another PGen. So the GCs are just going to keep coming in. He's not even giving them a chance. Well, nope, there's the reclaim. They are going to get that Monkey Lord reclaimed. Hawkeye is just going to overflow to his teammate. I spy T2 transports. What is that all about? The spearheads are firing at the GC, but like I said, they don't have tracking. So they're firing where the GC was in that moment in time instead of firing where it will be like artillery would. Hawkeye Hero ACU still has not lost its whole shield. The GC trying to get through the base shield. It is going to succeed. 18,000 health on the ACU. Backing up for the overcharge. The T2 gunships. Oh, it's close. Shield came up, protected the ACU for a split second. 4,600 HP left on that commander. And the GC is down. Wow, are you kidding me? No, that is not a joke. There's now 2 dead Galactic Colossuses. It is laying at the feet of Hawkeye's Rambocom. That is the way to do it, folks. That shield is regenning very, very slowly, but once it's up, he will be ready for another go-round. And these gunships are only stacking up. And here comes another Galactic Colossus. If I were him, I would be moving the spearheads back in line with the direction that the GC is facing, because the missiles would come in and impact the GC anyway, even though they were targeted behind it. Where they're at now, they are very, very useless. GC mowing through all of those units. Hawkeye running away in terror. He knows he can't survive another round with this Galactic Colossus. 68k health, trying to whittle it down with the T2 gunships, but there is contact, and boom! There goes the commander. Now it is Malicious versus Blitz, and Blitz is going to lose a large portion of his base to that Galactic Colossus. Hey, reclaim with the hives. There you go. He's actually doing it. Reclaim and damage the GC. The Megalith is taking a lot of fire, but the GC is going down more quickly. 20k remaining. Gunships everywhere around its head. Is he going to be able to knock it out, though? That's the question. It's now back in the eco, chewing up and spitting out these T3 mexes. And it's down. The problem here, though, is that mass is not a problem for Blitz. Yes, Malicious does have basically quadruple the economy of Blitz, but Blitz has 3 GC Rex. If you can't build a Megalith off of 3 freaking GC Rex, I don't know what your problem is. Those T2 gunships moving in, there is not any flak around, although there are some SAMs being built by Malicious. I don't think those Renegades are going to chew through the shield. No, they are not. He is bringing those back. That is going to be the end of that. Too many shields. Yep, that is the story of my life on a lot of occasions. Lots of tac missiles still available should they choose to go back. There's the Megalith. It is only at half health, but it is a Megalith nonetheless. There's a GC nearly finished, so I don't think that Megalith is going to get too terribly far. The GC will be able to kill it, but it's going to be interesting how that one is used. The GC is on the move, and it's going towards the south. Does Malicious have info? He does not. His scouts are circling around. He has no idea that that Megalith is coming, although it is pinged. His teammate has pinged it. And they're going to dance the dance of death. Circling around each other, trying to figure out who is going to advance first. Look at all of the GCs being laid out. Malicious is just building them like mad, hoping that eventually enough GCs will crash this south base. I mean, he did it before. It took him 3 freaking GCs to get to that ACU. But he did it in the end. Now he's got 3 more. Maybe that's his plan. Maybe it'll take 4 this time. Megalith moving up, trying to get around the top side of the base. There is a tac missile launch ahead of the Megalith. Is it going to impact? Not quite. Very smooth dodge there. GC moving to the south, trying to catch up to the commander or whatever else is available back here. This is basically a race for the ACU. Megalith firing at Malicious from a distance. He is not quite close enough to make contact, but he is trying. He is following at his very quickest. Blitz is going to jump in a T2 transport and get out of there just in time to avoid the GC. Now the GC, excuse me, the GC, the only thing that can stop that Megalith is now way too far out of position. So it's basically now up to fate. Whoever can catch the ACU fastest and kill it is going to win this. Oh my goodness. What is this? And a T2 transport. Malicious has got a T2 transport of his own. So now he can transport out of the way. T2 coming in. That ACU is going to come in for a direct hit on Malicious. Oh, there's a Swift Wind. No. No way. One Swift Wind for the win. Oh my goodness. We've got T4 trampling the entire map, and the game is decided by one T2 air unit on a transport. Holy cow, that is amazing. Alrighty guys, that is Theta Passage. Well played by both teams, reaching critical mass on their units and then wrecking each other's crap till nothing was left standing. Both of these bases are just in shambles. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please send me your replays, and I will see you in the next one.